Well, good morning and rise and shine, and welcome to Live at 6:05. I am Dr. Amy Nussbaum. Welcome to this Wednesday edition as we start to look at what it might mean to start taking some action towards your purpose. So, have you ever felt a strong sense of what God was wanting you to do, but yet you were just hesitating for one reason or another? Or do you find yourself waiting to feel more confident or more ready, more prepared? You have more knowledge, more experience before you take that first step? Or have you been praying for a breakthrough of some kind or some clarity, maybe building some momentum, but not really moving in the direction of it, not really stepping out into the purpose that you feel that you really need to step into? If that is where you are today, then I've got something important to share for you. Faith is not passive. Faith moves. It gets you moving. It takes you forward, taking steps. But when God gives you inspiration and vision or instruction, your job is to respond. Your job is to have that faith, to take that leap, and to get yourself moving. No matter how small, it is so important to start taking those action steps. Inspired action doesn't have to be big, it just has to be obedient. It doesn't even need to be confident. You just need to take it. And if it scares you, then do it afraid. Because when you take that first step, even if it's shaky or it's very small, you break the cycle of hesitation. You show God that you are willing and trust Him to take the lead in your life. And that will start to build momentum and strengthen your faith. You start to see the proof in your own life that, yes, I can do something. I can take steps. I can be productive. Um, I can take that leap of faith. And you start living in alignment with your purpose instead of just daydreaming about it. James 2:26 says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. In other words, believing and dreaming is just the beginning, but building requires action. Building requires you to do something on your end. But here's the thing, if you don't embrace the action, you are going to stay stuck in wishing and praying and waiting and dreaming, and you're never going to start moving. You are going to inadvertently convince yourself that you cannot do it. You begin to feel spiritually dry, not because God isn't speaking, but because you're not responding to Him. You start to lose confidence in your calling. You start to guess your gifts. Maybe you question, did I even really hear this or not? But you watch opportunities pass you by, not because you lack faith, but because you didn't follow through. Relying only on faith without movement creates frustration and fatigue and can even lead to burnout because you're not seeing the progress. You're not seeing yourself taking those steps to move forward. But when you move, even imperfectly at first, faith becomes alive. So, this is something that I talk with my clients about all the time. We talk about taking those small steps and moving forward. And what does that look like? So, when my clients first get started, they stop waiting for perfect clarity and they start with where they know. So starting with what you know is just where you need to begin. And then as we start to work, you start to take leaps to send that email that you've been waiting to send, or have that conversation that you've been hesitant to have, or you start to write down that idea and you start to brainstorm what that process might look like. And that is something that I love to do with clients, is figure out the pathway that you need to take to really step into your purpose, to step into your passions. Or maybe it's, we finally sit down and apply for that opportunity that you've been dreaming about, that you see the posting, but you just don't ever quite make it happen. That is something we start to talk about, having the courage and just take the steps. And then you stop measuring progress in miles and start celebrating every inch that you move forward. You discover that obedience unlocks the next level of vision, and this dream of yours starts to grow and explode and expand even bigger than you could imagine yourself, because God meets you in the motion. So the action doesn't have to be big. The action doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be you moving forward. So you need to act now. I would encourage you to do that because every day you delay, your dream gets heavier. And the longer you wait, the harder it actually is to start. And that is just a psychological truth. The longer we put it off, the more proof we give ourselves that I'm not going to be able to do this, that I don't know how to do this. You give yourself the evidence. But if we start taking those small steps, you start to build evidence elsewhere and your mind starts to shift. When you start to move, it starts to shift. The atmosphere changes, your confidence grows, and heaven will back you up. So, if you've been sitting on a nudge or an idea or a God given calling, now is the time. Take this as your sign. It is time to get moving. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Just take the right next step. And if you would like some help in that, drop the word move in the comments or send me a message and let's get that complimentary session set up for you so we can talk about what next steps might look like for you and possibly what it might look like for us to work together on this journey towards you stepping into the purpose, that life that you are made for. So, if you're ready to take that inspired action, even if it's small, you don't have to figure this out by yourself. Let's chat. I look forward to hearing from you soon. But until then, remember, you are made for more.